Wonderful little stories from my life. Stranger Danger and other fun stories from my life. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, we are having this beautiful, beautiful day out here, and this is my front porch, and I love it. You know, I love sitting out here at night. It's like I think that the three bears and Goldilocks are going to be somewhere coming up the driveway, or Little Red Riding Hood. It's just so magical. We used to have a family at Deer that used to come through here until they built like some new houses down the road. And so now they don't come through here anymore. I think the deers got displaced and they moved them elsewhere. But anyhow, I got to thinking today about just, you know, when I was raising my kids and how awesome it was and how much fun we had and all the great times that I had with them. And there's endless stories and times that I could share from all of our many motorhome trips when I was homeschooling them and we went across country, to my homeschooling days, to us riding around in the mom mobile, as I called it, as the kids called it, which was a big expedition with 3 rows of seats. And I would homeschool while we were going places. And it was just a wonderful time living down in Texas. And I would homeschool in the front yard or the backyard. I remember one time we had this we had a community pool and my kids were really little, and I just didn't want to have to be at the community pool and having to constantly keep an eye on them for 3 or 4 hours at it, and I wanted to go daily. And so I came up with the idea to buy one of those great big blow up pools. It was a big blow up pool, and we had a great big long patio, cement patio, and we put it on that, and I filled it up, and my kids had the best summers ever. They played in that pool because they were little, and we put little life vests on them, and I stayed out there with them the whole time. But at least I was home, and I could, I grilled every day while they were playing in the pool. So we basically ate outside for like 6 months of the year, while they were playing in the pool. And they just had such an awesome, awesome time. When they were little, we lived full time on an island, and I used to take my kids in the wagon. The little wagon y'all see on my front porch periodically when I do a video is a little Red Ryder wagon. Well, we first bought it in Europe, and we would wheel around in all the farm fields in Bavaria. It was wonderful. And then when on our little island, we would take the kids to the beach in the little red wagon, and all 3 could fit in. And we would go feed the seagulls and every day, and it was just magical and wonderful. I remember when my kids used to, if my husband stayed home and watched them, our little beach house set up like one level because that's how they're built. And we had this long screened in porch. And so when I'd come back with all the groceries and pull up, my kids would be out there playing on that big long screened in porch. And they would jump up and down, go, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy." They were so excited, like they hadn't seen me in 1,000 years. I think that was the most magical time in my life. They loved me so much. Now they love me the same, I think, but it's just, different. They don't jump up and down when they see me come into the room like they did when they were little. And I remember one time, it was such a funny time, stranger danger. I always taught my kids, stranger danger, stranger danger. If someone approaches you, yell stranger danger. Well, my kids listened well. One time we moved to a new neighborhood, and my kids were out in the front yard, and they were probably 6 and 7. And this man came up to them and asked them if they saw a small dog. Well, my kids took off running in all directions, and my one son went up over the hill into the weeds. My daughter ran into the house and went, stranger danger, stranger danger. And they were screaming stranger danger. And I opened up the door, and there is this man standing on my doorstep, and he was just shaking. He was just shaking. He said, "I just want you to know I'm no stranger danger. I was looking for my little dog." And he was a neighbor that we hadn't met that was looking for his little dog. He lost his dog. And I said, "I'm so sorry, but thank you so much. I now know that my children do listen to what I tell them. Stranger danger." And so we've just had so many amazing times. We've been to Disneyland and with Knott's Berry Farm, and we've been in our motorhome trips going across country. And those motorhome trips, oh my gosh, the kids were probably like 9, 10, and 11 or somewhere around there. And they were old enough to remember and enjoy the trips, and yet young enough that made it so much fun. And we just had one memory after the other that was magical and wonderful. I remember one time we went to the car wash, and we were getting ready to drive through, and my husband hurried up and put down the windows. He says, "Oh no, the windows don't work." And the kids were thinking that all the soap suds were going to come in, but he put them up real quick. And I remember that. I remember when we would go across and go over to the railroad tracks, we used to go bumpity bump. Bumpity bump. We have all these wonderful, magical memories. And fortunately, I was smart enough to get them all on tape. I videotaped every single day of our life. And I had the video cameras laying around. So I just pick it up, get a little here, a little there, whatever we were doing. We could be having dinner and I would put it on the tripod and videotape us having dinner. And it was just wonderful to look back on the birthday parties, the people that were in our lives, the things that we did, the places that we went to, simple things like homeschooling. We used to have this little laundry room. And in the laundry room, I put a little television and a little table for the kids to draw and color and all that. And I remember on Sunday mornings, we used to watch a Christian network programming, and they had Davy and Goliath on, and my kids loved that show. And they would watch all the little cartoons on there. And we just have had so many wonderful, wonderful moments. And so if you're raising small children, if you're raising teenagers even, and I often say I've heard it said, that you're not a parent until you've raised a teenager, and that is true. And teenagers are wonderful, and yet it's very different to raise a teenager than it is to raise a small child, because they're changing into an adult, and their choices are different, and it's just a very different experience. But you can enjoy their teenage years. And now I have young adults, and I so enjoy my kids. I so enjoy them, and they enjoy me. My kids are always calling me and saying, "Hey, Mom, what's up?" And they're always checking in with me, and we're always going places and doing things together. So it's equally wonderful now, but it was so magical when they were little. But I got to thinking about stranger danger, stranger danger. Oh, and one more, and I have so many more, endless ones. I can't even think of them all right now. But we lived in Atlanta, or as I used to say, Lanta, and we lived on the other side of Lanta. And so we went to a church. It was about 2.5 hours away because the traffic was so heavy in Atlanta. And so we would get in a big expedition, and I would stop and get some Happy Meals, and I would start driving. And it was on a Wednesday that we usually went to the church, a Wednesday evening, and they had a great kids group there. And that's, one of the big reasons why we always went there. So my kids and they'd be playing little games, from their car seats in the car, and eating their Happy Meals. And their time went by fast. My time went by slow, being in all the traffic. And we would get to the church, and they loved to go to the events at the church, and they had so much fun. And we would stop and eat dinner at the church because they had a restaurant in the church. And we remember this 90-year-old man that used to bus tables, and he was so wonderful. And he always came up to my kids and talked to them and talked to me. And we loved the church. And then we would leave that night, and on our way home, we'd stop at Burger King, and they had a play area, and the kids would play there. And then I would drive on home, and they would fall asleep in their car seats, and I'd get them home and put them all in bed. So such wonderful, wonderful memories of our house in Atlanta. And the kids would play. It had like a little rolling hill, and they'd go out there and roll up and down the hill. And occasionally we would have snow, and they would, snowboard up and down the hill. Just wonderful memories. So if you have children, enjoy your journey being a parent. From my house to yours, may God bless you. And I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.